My stepdaughter said I should be grateful to sit in the audience at her wedding. I sat at the bank instead, canceled transfers, and let her father perform. Guests noticed immediately. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reddit Visuals. I used to believe that some people were just misguided, that deep down everyone had good intentions. But let me tell you something that'll make your blood boil. Some people will drain your bank account, steal your pride, and then have the audacity to tell you to be grateful for the crumbs they throw you. I'm Tom. I'm 54. I've been with my partner, Cynthia, for nearly 17 years. We're not married, we just never got around to it, but we've built a life together. Shared bills, shared memories, shared heartaches, and most importantly, I've helped raise her daughter, Lacey, since she was 10 years old. Now, when I say raise, I don't mean I was there sometimes. I mean I was the one who taught her to ride a bike when she scraped her knees so bad she was afraid to try again. I was the one who sat through every single parent-teacher conference when her grades started slipping. I drove her to soccer practice at 6 a.m. on Saturdays for 4 years straight. I held her hair back when she got food poisoning after prom. I co-signed her first car loan. I paid every penny of her college tuition, all 4 years, plus her summer abroad program in Italy that cost me an extra $8,000. I loved that girl like she was my blood, and even when she tested my patience, even when she brought home boyfriends that annoyed the heck out of me, I never let her feel the absence of a father figure. Her biological dad, Gary? This guy was like a ghost. He'd surface every few years with a birthday card, usually late, and maybe a phone call on Christmas if he remembered. Never paid a cent of child support, never showed up to a single school event. But somehow, in Lacey's mind, he was this romantic figure who just couldn't be there because life was complicated. Meanwhile, I was just the guy who fixed her car, paid her bills, and apparently didn't matter. Still, I never made it about me. I figured when push came to shove, when it really counted, she'd know who her real father was. God, was I wrong. Fast forward to last year. Lacey gets engaged to Noah, nice kid, banker, treats her well. When she told us, she was bouncing off the walls with excitement. I remember thinking, I can't believe my little girl is getting married. It felt surreal. The planning started immediately. Designer dress shopping, venue tours, cake tastings, the whole 9 yards. And every single time they needed money, they came to me. Not Gary. Me. Tom, can you cover the venue deposit? It's $15,000. Sure, sweetheart. Tom, the photographer wants $8,000 up front. No problem. Tom, we found the perfect florist, but they need payment in advance. Consider it done. I wasn't just writing checks. I was emotionally invested. I helped pick the venue. I tasted 17 different cake flavors until I was sick of buttercream. I even drove 2 hours to look at a farm where they might have the reception. This was my daughter getting married, and I wanted it to be perfect. Over 6 months, I had transferred nearly $58,000. Not counting the engagement party I threw at our house that cost another $6,000. But who's counting, right? This was what fathers do for their daughters. Then came the bomb. We were at the final venue walkthrough, about 6 weeks before the wedding. Lacey's going through her checklist with the wedding planner when she casually drops, "Oh, and make sure Gary's boutonniere matches mine. He's walking me down the aisle." I actually thought I misheard her. "I'm sorry, what?" She looked at me like I was slow. "Gary's walking me down the aisle. I thought I mentioned that." The wedding planner, bless her heart, looked as uncomfortable as I felt. She excused herself to check on the sound system. "Lacey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "I assumed I would be walking you down the aisle." She laughed, actually laughed. "Tom, come on. Gary's my real father. It just makes more sense." There it was. Real father. After 17 years, I was still just the guy who paid the bills. "Besides," she continued, "you should be grateful you're even invited to sit in the audience. A lot of stepfathers don't get that." Sit in the audience. Like I was some distant relative who got a pity invitation. I nodded slowly, smiled, and said nothing. But inside, something fundamental shifted. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying every bedtime story, every scraped knee I'd kissed, every time I'd chosen her soccer game over golf with my friends. All of it apparently meant nothing. The next morning, I called Gary myself. Hey, Gary, it's Tom. Oh, hey. He sounded surprised. We'd spoken maybe 5 times in 17 years. So you're walking Lacey down the aisle? Yeah, she asked me. Pretty excited about it. Great. Just curious, are you planning to contribute anything financially? Silence. I continued, since you're the real father and all, I figured you'd want to help with the wedding costs. I'm kind of tight right now. Right. Well, just so you know, I've covered about $64,000 so far, so if you want to chip in for the father-daughter dance song or maybe the rehearsal dinner. More silence. Look, Tom, I appreciate everything you've done, but you're the real father. I got it. I hung up. 2 weeks later, at the final family dinner before the wedding, Lacey stood up to give a toast. She thanked Noah's parents for welcoming her. She thanked her mom for being her best friend. She thanked Gary for making the trip to walk her down the aisle. I sat there, fork halfway to my mouth, waiting for my name. Nothing, not even thanks to Tom for helping make this wedding possible.
Pogo? Ouais, on est dehors.
Radio silence.
Dehors.
When I got home, I sat in my office and stared at my computer screen for about an hour.
On est à
Then I opened my
Verdun
banking
Beach.
app and started making calls. Every vendor that hadn't been fully paid yet, canceled. Every future transfer I'd scheduled.
On est sur la rue La Salle.
The remaining $22,000
C'est quoi
in
celui-là?
payments due the week of the wedding.
La rue
Not
Caisse.
happening. Now here's what Lacey didn't know about wedding vendors. They
C'est la
want their
rue
final
qui mène
payments
au
7
métro
to
La
10
Salle.
days before the event. And most of them have clauses that if you don't
Le
pay,
métro La Salle qui
they
est
don't show.
là-bas.
I didn't tell anyone
qu'on
what
voit
I'd
du
done.
orange,
I
là.
just waited. 3 days before the wedding, my phone rang.
C'est bizarre parce que c'est le métro
Tom, there's a
La
problem.
Salle,
It was Cynthia.
mais on est à
She
Verdun.
sounded panicked. The caterer
Parce
called.
que
They said the final payment was declined. Huh, that's
il
weird. Tom,
en
did you
rapport
cancel
au
the
boulevard
payment?
La Salle.
Yes, I did.
C'est vrai que ça donne sur le
What?
boulevard La Salle.
Why?
l'autre bord. Ah ouais,
Because
c'est
I
ça.
was
C'est
told
bien
to
la
be
rue
grateful to
Caisse.
sit in the audience.
Parce que
So
le
I
dépanneur
decided to be
Caisse,
grateful from the bank instead.
devant nous.
The explosion was immediate. Screaming, crying, accusations of sabotage. Lacey got on the phone, called me every name in the book.
On va voir si
said
ça
I was ruining
respecte
her
les...
wedding out of spite. I
Ouais.
stayed calm. Lacey, your real father is walking you down the aisle. Maybe your real father can handle the bills too. I hung up. The next 2 days were tense. Not for me, I was
Ah
having
là,
a
on
great
est sur le
time.
boulevard La Salle.
My phone buzzed
Là,
constantly.
on est sur le boulevard La
increasingly
Salle.
desperate calls and texts.
Non, on n'est
Noah's
pas sur...
parents
Oui,
were
on est sur le boulevard La Salle.
but they'd already spent a fortune flying in their extended family. Gary was mysteriously engaged. Seems
Je m'en vais.
The morning of the
La
wedding,
rue Wellington,
I and drove to the
la main
not
de
to attend.
Verdun.
Oh no, I parked across the street and watched the show.
Verdun Beach.
At 2 p.m. when the ceremony was supposed to start,
Il y avait une
guests
grande
were still
église ici qui a
milling
passé
around
au feu.
outside. The florist had sent
non,
a
c'est un
skeleton
con,
crew
lui.
with basically grocery store flowers. The DJ never showed. They were playing music from someone's iPhone.
Asti, on se croirait dans le milieu de l'été. Il fait chaud, on est bien. La végétation en masse, c'est vert. Partout. La végétation en a profité, en tout cas. Mois de mai pluvieux. Frette.
The caterer needs payment before they'll serve dinner. Sir, the limo driver is asking about his fee.
Une fois que la chaleur
Gary
arrive,
looked like he
pouf
wanted to
pouf,
disappear.
pouf pouf.
At 3 p.m., they finally started the ceremony.
Ouais, ça ici,
I
ce
had
bloc-là,
watching Gary
c'était une
walk
grosse
Lacey down
église
that
toute
aisle.
moderne.
His
Elle a
smile
passé au
looked
feu.
more like a grimace,
Elle a
and I
passé
could
au
see
feu
sweat
quand je
stains
restais
on
ici
shirt
à Verdun.
where I sat. During the ceremony, I noticed guests looking around,
Sur le
whispering.
coin de la rue.
Flowers were wilted. The music kept cutting out.
Ouais,
The
c'est quoi ce
photographer was
rue-là?
gone. Apparently, he left after
C'était la...
the real drama started at the reception. The caterer went down the
Ah oui, la rue Strathmore. Je restais sur le coin de Strathmore et Evelyn. Quel excellent appartement, c'est qu'on payait pas cher. 4,85. Il y avait 8 pièces. Il y avait des vitraux. Des fois, tu pognes des affaires de même. Hein? Il nous a pris l'idée de quitter Verdun pour vouloir rester sur le plateau. On est resté sur le plateau 6 ans, dans le coin du parc La Fontaine. Après ça, on est resté à Villeray pour un autre 6 ans. Coin Villeray. Non, coin Jean Talon et Christophe Colomb. Oh, on arrive sur le coin de la merveilleuse rue Wellington qui prend sa source dans le centre-ville, en Vieux-Montréal. Qui traverse Verdun. Je pense qu'ils l'ont changé maintenant en rue piétonne, si je ne m'abuse, ou c'est bientôt qu'ils vont le faire. La rue Wellington est maintenant devenue une espèce de rue comme Mont-Royal. Ah, ils l'ont pas fermé encore. Là, ici, il y a des affaires. Oh, cuisine cambodgienne, tiens. On va découvrir des nouvelles choses que je connais pas. Cuisine cambodgienne. Puis ici, mon ami barbecue. Barbecue coréen. On peut voir à l'intérieur, je sais pas. Vous voyez, des assiettes avec un trou pour faire un ventilateur au-dessus. Pour faire du barbecue coréen. Ah oui, c'est bien ça. Regardez le menu. Ah, OK. Fait que tu peux te prendre une sorte de viande, commander du riz. C'est bien agréable, le barbecue coréen. C'est comme un peu de la fondue, dans le fond. Oh, un massothérapeute. OK. Une bonne vieille buanderie qui n'a pas l'air à fonctionner. Salon de coiffure. Hey, Poutine Lafleur, PL. Pas rapport avec les Lafleur. Ici, il y a toujours un peu de trafic. Vais-je au soleil? Ah non, Wellington n'est pas encore fermé, ou peut-être qu'ils la fermeront. Restaurant buvette, ça sent bien vraiment comme le plateau. Petit bistrot français. Le Archway. C'est intéressant. L'air fancy schmancy. Et si il y avait un gros magasin de jeux vidéo rétro, c'est terminé. Comment il s'appelait avant? Je ne sais plus. Maintenant, c'est un chapelier. Un gros magasin de chapeaux. Wow. Je me demandais justement où est-ce qu'on peut acheter un chapeau, à part d'Amazon. Taquet